You can do this business of being a real estate business owner, being a wholesaler, being a flipper, being a real estate investor, anywhere if you have a phone, a laptop, and an internet connection. But most importantly, you have to have that internal fire to go out every single day and have conversations with property owners and make offers. Today's podcast interview is going to absolutely blow your face off. Nakia Thomas lives in New Jersey. She's doing business in Cleveland and New Jersey and came into this business just a couple years ago with absolutely no experience, with a small daughter and burning the ships, so to speak, right? Stopping her current 9-to-5 to jump full into real estate, and she is winning. This story will inspire you. It'll get you fired up, and you will go out and want to go and talk to people more than ever. So check this out. From Essex County, New Jersey, it is my pleasure to introduce to the Wholesaling Inc Podcast, Nakia Thomas. How are you?
I'm good, Brent. How are you?
I'm excited. Because we're going to talk about a phenomenal deal that you just closed and quite a story behind it. We're going to break all that down. We're going to put you in the hot seat so that people can replicate what you've done. But how long have you known that you wanted to be an entrepreneur?
Ironically, probably 2022. I went through a really ugly breakup.
Okay.
And I just felt like the world was on my shoulders. I was terrified. I have a 6-year-old. At the time, she was 2. And I just felt like I was working at Horizon Blue Cross and Blue Shield. And I'm like, obviously living in New Jersey, I can't make it making 70 to 80 grand a year. That's impossible. So I start diving into entrepreneurship 2020.
So what was what door did you go through? You know what I mean? When you were looking at all the options in the world to be a business owner or to be self-employed, that's kind of where we start out, right? We start as self-employed and going out there and being in a hustle season. Were you looking at different opportunities, different paths? And if so, what were they?
I was. I actually love interior design. That was a passion for me. So I started out looking at stuff like that. Like I was going to do, I can't even think of it. Like, oh my gosh, I'm nervous. When you're prepping the house, I was going to go into that type of thing.
Like staging?
Yeah, staging. I was going to go into staging. And then I started making pillows. I had someone making pillows for me. And that wasn't moving fast enough. So me and my best friend actually started flipping.
Awesome. What's your best friend's name?
Nikia, ironically.
No way.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That is hilarious.
Yeah. Nikia,
so Nakia Squared started down this flipping path. And so, you know, there's a lot of questions when we start with this, right? How do we raise the funds? How do we find the deal? How do we make sure that we get the right contractors? So what was that like for you guys?
Well, both of our mates at the time were into construction. Her mate was doing flipping. Mine was doing somewhat of the same thing, buy and hold, and he kind of like started getting into development. So we had like contractors from that, and we met different people. I actually pulled all of the money from my 401k. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, the first flip went pretty well. It was actually subdivided already when we purchased it. So we sold the other part of the land before we even was like midway into the project. So it was great.
Awesome.
And then, I'm sorry.
No, I just said awesome.
Yeah. And we went to the second flip and the third. And then slowly I learned that I needed some cash reserves or a readily available private lender.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I started looking into some other things because I started getting a little paranoid because I was digging myself into a hole bringing up my business credit. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's scary. You know, I remember when I started doing some flips early in 2008, and I had a decent amount. I had like maybe 30,000 in an account before I lost it all. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just put this in there. I'm gonna go see if anybody else wants to match me, and we're gonna be able to do that. But as soon as it like leaves your account, there's like this weird pause that your heart has. You know what I mean? You're just like, oh man, I hope I didn't make a huge mistake here. You know, I hope that like I'm really, really strong with my numbers and really understand that this is a good deal. So the first deal that you got that was subdivided, you're pulling from your 401k. Right.
Like, yeah, I had savings, obviously, probably about like 20, 30 grand. And then I pulled from my 401k just to have, because I had left my job.
Right.
So I was like,
oh, got it.
Yeah. So instead of transferring it somewhere, I just kind of like betted on myself. I said, I'm going to become this great entrepreneur. And I thought it was going to be easier than it actually was. It wasn't that easy. So, you know, after some time of burning my credit up, you know, going through sleepless nights, figuring out how am I going to pay some of this stuff back, and just keeping up with my monthly expenses, it became extremely hard. And I just had to figure something else out.
Got it. So, what was in you that made you think that you could be a good entrepreneur? You know what I mean? It sounds like you had a decent job for a while. Nothing that you know was going to, you know, make you a millionaire in like a couple years type of thing, but something that was decent. And then you were like, you know what? I'm going to just risk it all. I've got a 2-year-old, whatever, right? You know what I mean? Like that's really a huge hurdle for a lot of people. So was there something? Did you grow up with a lot of confidence? Did you play sports? Did you have family that was just like you could do anything that you want? You know, you put your mind to type of thing. Like,
not at all. Brent, you probably wouldn't believe me if I told you. I think it was the fact of my ex making me believe that I couldn't do it, and I'm very I don't know. I'm just that type. Like, if you tell me I can't, I'm going to show you that I can. And that's kind of like where my mindset was.
I'll tell you what, and it might not be the right word to of what you're saying here, but at least this is my perspective. Whenever I get really angry about something, really like you didn't pick me, you don't see the potential in me, and whatever it was, whether it was sports or school or anything, just anything competitive, you know, anything in life, that was way more of a fire in my belly than hey, here's, you know, you can get this big reward type of thing. So it's like, you know, they say you go towards pleasure away from pain. The pain side always worked a lot better for me. I always liked running from behind. You know what I mean? I always liked catching up to things and passing them as opposed to starting with a lead. So, yeah, I totally get what you're saying there. You're like, I'm gonna show you wrong.
For sure. I've even had someone tell me, like, you know, I started flipping, and they're like, you want to do that little wholesaling thing? And I'm like, okay, that was very, you know, offensive. And once I started surrounding myself around multi-million-dollar wholesalers, like the potential is endless, literally endless. So
you started flipping. You were pulling some money out of investment accounts and savings, going through the classic real estate investor sleepless nights. Hoping that everything's going well and thinking of a million different ways that it could go wrong. And then you found wholesaling. Mm-hmm. You found it from my man, Max Maxwell.
From Max Maxwell. I actually, I was on YouTube University, as everyone else, found Amazon that just didn't work. I wasted a couple $100 doing that. Maybe $1,000, I don't know. And when I found Max Maxwell and I started researching his story, and I think at that time, he already was doing amazing. He was doing development at that point. And when I seen how short, like the period of when he started to where he was at that time, I'm like, this is it. Mm-hmm. This is it.
Yeah.
And watching Max Maxwell shows, his podcast, I actually stumbled across your show one night. And it probably was like 2 a.m. in the morning, one of my sleepless nights. I'll wake up to use the bathroom and I just can't go back to sleep.
Yep.
And I seen your show and it's like mentorship. And I'm like, I'm going to start tomorrow. I started the next day, literally. And
Awesome.
I think it's the best thing that could have ever happened to me because I just see my future it's just so bright. You know, like a year ago, I had no idea. Like, I'm like, I can't go back to a 9-to-5. You know, then he'll show me up. So I had to figure it out. I definitely had to figure it out.
I love it. Well, listen, and we talked before we started today that there's really 3 steps to being a real estate entrepreneur. Number 1 is find great deals. That's fundamental. Find great deals. Number 2 is raising capital. Number 3 is property management. Whether that's the management of a rental or whether that's the management of a flip, those are the 3 main core skills that you have to build. And if people will just understand that finding the deals, it starts everything else. That is the engine of the business, right? And so you develop that skill first. The other 2 come along, and that's really what we focus on, right? That's what we focus on in the Rhino Tribe. That's what we focus on this podcast and on the YouTube channel. Is just, hey, this is how you go find the deals. Now you got to put in the massive imperfect action to go find them. So, so what'd you do to start generating these opportunities?
So I started cold calling, which I was terrified of doing. I didn't mention that I have a real estate license as well. And I hated the buyer side of the business, but I was just too chicken to make a cold call. So I'm like, it's not going to work for me. But obviously being in a Rhino Tribe, jumping onto the different calls and being in the virtual office, I'm like, this isn't that bad. I hear people get cursed out all day and they laugh about it. Or in the virtual office, they, I can't remember what the word that they use, but they hang up. So it's like, don't let it drain your energy. It has nothing to do with you. Just make the call.
Right.
It became easy.
Yeah. Explain to everybody that's unfamiliar what the virtual office is in the Rhino Tribe.
So it's where we all gather to make calls. People are closing deals consistently. And when I say deals, I mean big deals, triple digit deals. There were several people that closed 80 grand, over 100 grand. It's insane. And just seeing that, it gives you so much power. Like, I can definitely do this. So even if I don't close $100,000 today, I know I'm going to close one soon, very soon.
Yeah, I love it. I think that part of us always say when we hear something like you were saying, like you're talking about now of people making $80,000 off of one call that, it's not just one call, but it's the first initial call that really leads to that.
Sure.
And people are like, prove it. So we were like, okay, let's just do a live, Zoom that's going all day long with people that want to get together. So you never feel like you're on an island and are supporting each other and going through it. Once you see that the rejection isn't personal, like you were saying, that really helps you to build the confidence to go out there and make those calls and take the action. But 2, when you see somebody that locks up a deal
consistently,
and I know, and not only that, but it's almost like you're listening to like a actor on the other side of the phone saying all of these things, and you're like, wait, this isn't real. This can't be real. This has to be like just a phony call or something. But it's real. I mean, literally every single day, every single second of every single minute, outside of the Rhino Tribe, inside of the Rhino Tribe, whatever, people are having these conversations with distressed property owners. And the fact is 6 to 10% of the real estate market is going to be in distress at all times. That's 10 to 14 million every single year. And we have the opportunity to talk to as many of them as possible.
Right.
And so that's what you started doing. And so
not only that, the emotional income is amazing.
Yeah.
Like when you know for sure that you help someone in distress. Like the first retail deal that I closed, it was my mom. And she never believed that she can own a house. And me and her weren't on great terms at that time. And just the fact that she texted me that morning and she was like, I can't believe this. Like, I couldn't sleep. Like, you helped me do this. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, that feeling was amazing. So even with with the last deal that I did, the probate, it's just like helping. The lady she just wanted to be done with it. She just went, and I was able to provide that for her. So it feels great.
So wait a second. Your mom had never owned a home before?
My mom has never owned a house. Never.
What about your grandparents?
My grandparents did. Ironically, they lost their home when I was about, I want to say 13, to foreclosure. So these things that I'm helping people with is very near and dear to my heart because, these things has happened to me. So obviously we're not looked at as the most honest people. And sometimes that's how I built rapport. Like, hey, I've experienced this. I wasn't an adult, obviously. It didn't happen to me firsthand, but it happened to my grandparents, and we all kind of that's the house that we all knew. So it means a lot to be able to help someone and get them out of situations that they see no light. They see no end. And I can be, the resolution.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, you're right. I mean, investors are looked at as sharks. You know what I mean? As sharks in a lot of ways. But if you peel back the layers of the experience that we go through, I mean, you saw your grandparents go through it. I lost 5 homes in the downturn, and that was horrible. Great for destroying my ego, which was elevated beyond belief in my 20s for no real reason. I just, it's just the naivety of youth, I guess. But going through that, I understand the stress. I understand that there's a deadline here. I understand that there is a weight that weighs on you because of personal problems with your property.
Yeah.
And that's our job. Our job is to go there and have that discovery, have a great quality conversation with that property owner and see what the best solution for them is. Oftentimes it's not a cash as is offer. It could just be to put it on the market and sell it, retail. It could be to rent it to somebody else. It could be to fix it up. It could be a lot of different options. But we have to be able to discover what that is when we're speaking to the property owner. But we can't discover any of that if we don't talk to anybody.
Exactly. So, like I said, this is just being able to talk to people. It's when I couldn't do that only a year ago, it feels great. And to be resourceful,
Yep. Yeah. So what do you think was the change that made you comfortable doing it? Was it just reps? Was it being around other people doing it? Was it you had a really good conversation? You're like, holy cow, okay, not everybody's mad at me.
No, I'll definitely say being around other people doing it. Because to be honest, like I was cold calling a little here and there. I wasn't consistent at all last year. And I actually hired cold callers, which I did get my first couple of deals from. But I noticed me calling myself, it's not the same. I'll get deals much faster. I still have a caller, obviously. And the last deal that I closed, it was from one of my callers, which was a lay down deal. Amazing. But I still call myself for sure.
Yeah, I'm just telling you, I mean, I think, before anybody, and I've said this since 2017, I think, in my opinion, the best people that stay the longest talk to at least 1,000 people themselves before they go and replace themselves in that role, because then they know how to look for really good talent. They know what the best lists are to call. They have the experience. They have the empathy of understanding what somebody's making calls for, 2, 3, 4, 8 hours a day.
Right.
What they go through and how to work on that and how to advance their skills in that, because you've done it.
That's
right?
a great point that you make, Brent, because me just hiring callers before I actually had any skin in the game, I really didn't know how to pull lists. I didn't know how to put my systems in place. I really didn't know much of any of that. I just learned that recently in the virtual office. Now I pull my own lists. I'm learning my business before I hand it off to someone else. So that's a great point.
Yeah, and listen, there's something nostalgic. There's something wonderful. There's something that's pride that you can build pride in getting into the dirt every single day, getting into the hustle season and actually winning and actually earning it and actually building those skills, as opposed to just going, oh, I'm entitled to be an entrepreneur because I think great thoughts about myself, or I want to prove everybody wrong, or whatever else. No, you have to earn that right. You have to earn the right to be a business owner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
And this
So
year, I can honestly say I'm earning it.
you are. You're doing absolutely phenomenal. So
Thank you.
let's break down this deal that you found.
Okay.
Yep. So what list was it?
So it was.
What day did you call them? No. Let's break it all down.
It was just July that I spoke to her the first time. I want to say like 2 days before the 4th. So I'm going to say July 2nd. It was from it was a senior owner vacant list.
Okay. Where'd you pull it from?
Senior owner vacant that ironically happened to be a probate.
So senior owner vacant. Break that down for me. First, what tool did you use? And then what makes somebody a senior owner vacant?
Okay. So I use Deal Machine. And senior owner is, I believe, 65 and older.
Yep.
And it's a vacant property. I'm not sure how long it has to be vacant, but it's vacant. And what was the other question?
Do you put any other filters on it? Do you put like length of ownership? Do you put size of the property? Do you put age of the property? Do you put any of that? Or are you just putting the two filters that are owned by 65 plus and vacant, and then just pull that whole list and call them?
I did the senior owner vacant, and then I did off market, less than 300,000 because this property was in Cleveland, Ohio. I actually do specific zip codes in that area because I don't like doing the really rough areas. It's just not a great market for me. I don't enjoy it. I did 7 years of more of ownership. Mm-hmm. And I think it was 2,000 square feet or less.
Awesome. So guys, there you go. Make sure that you re-watch us or re-listen to it and really break that down, because that's really bread and butter. We love going after properties 2,000 square feet and less because the budgets for the rehab aren't huge. And so there's a bigger pool of investors that we can put this deal in front of and see if they want to buy it. So awesome. So you pull that list, you call them up, and you're in New Jersey, you're calling in Cleveland. What is happening?
Yes. That's where my first couple of deals have been, in Cleveland, Ohio. And ironically, I started calling in Cleveland, I want to say the end of January. I got my first deal there February 14th. So awesome. It's just, I don't know, for me, it was an easier market. But this deal specifically that we're talking about, she actually called me back from my caller calling her, and she did answer, and she told her the property that we were calling about, she wasn't interested in selling. And she said she thought about it, so she called me back, and I'm like, hi, are you returning a call? And she's like, yeah, you guys called me, and I'm interested in selling another property. Do you want to look into it? And I'm like, sure. You want to give me the address? I think I spoke to her maybe an hour and a half overall, from the first contact to me comping the deal and giving her a call back, negotiating the price, and we closed in less than 30 days.
Wait a second. So you didn't walk through the property?
No.
You didn't meet this seller face to face?
I never met her.
How could you possibly know what to offer somebody if you haven't seen the property, walked through it, or met the owner?
So I did, I want to say 30% of Zillow Zestimate. And she actually gave me her price. She's like, I'm not going to take less than 150. And I'm like, I can't give her that. So I have to see, negotiate somehow. And I think we settled at, I want to say like 134, something like that.
130. So they won't go lower than 150. We hear that, by the way, every single day. Mm-hmm. Every day in my business, we hear, I won't go below 400,000, and then we lock it up for 240.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or I won't go below 3, And listen, people don't, people are going to throw out what they think, their neighbors are selling for, or what Zillow tells them, or whatever else. They don't know where to start. They don't know what it is. But we have a rule that we never tell people what they should sell their house for. We only tell them what we can buy it for.
Right.
And I think if you really stick to that rule, you can be really confident with the numbers that you throw out there.
For sure.
Because if they want more, great. God bless. Go get more from a different buyer. I can guarantee you this price is what I can offer you, and we can get this closed.
Yeah.
Right. And so, awesome. What was the condition of the property?
It was in decent condition. Everything, the roof was, I think they changed within the last 5 years. The furnace was in good condition. Everything was in good condition. It just needed to be modernized. So, the kitchen, bath, paint, pretty much cosmetic.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so you send the agreement via like an email signature?
And I had to walk
Perfect.
her through that because she was an older lady, so she had never used DocuSign. And
Sure.
I sat on the phone with her. I explained the contract to her. And she's like, I was going to wait for my daughter, but I need to learn to do this stuff on my own. So I walked her through the contract. Really simple, easy. And she signed, and I want to say I found a buyer probably in like 2 days. And
awesome.
And one of the questions that I asked her, we typically close within 14 to 30 days. Does that work for you? And she's like, yes, please, for sure. So it was that was a lay down deal for me. I was excited about it.
Ding, 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 ding. That's you say, hey, listen, 14 to 30 days. And they're like, yes, I want to, I wish it was gone yesterday.
Yes.
You're like, oh my gosh. Yes. Right.
For sure.
Because people will trade price for speed and convenience.
And that's
it. Everybody thinks that it all comes down to price. Everybody thinks that, everybody wants to get the absolute highest price. It's not true.
It's not.
You're not going to get the highest price for a cash as is offer. You're just not. That's it.
I actually had one that I sold that was in Cleveland as well. He wanted to get out of Cleveland so bad. He was from California, and he just had a horrible experience that he took less than what he actually owed on the mortgage.
Yeah.
He just wanted to.
Yeah, he came in with money.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you got it locked up for how much? 134?
Yes.
134, and then you sold it for how much?
I sold it for 158. What was it? It's on my board.
Uh-huh.
I know whatever the difference of 24.
Yeah. 158 and made $24,000. Come on.
Less than 30 days.
You broke the bell. We broke the bell again. That is awesome. In 30 days, 24,000 in 30 days. She sold her house. Done. Easy. How'd you find your buyer?
Actually, I found my buyer on Facebook Market. Not Facebook Market, through a investment Facebook group.
Awesome. Yeah, guys, don't put you were about to, my heart sank when you said Facebook Market.
No. It was an investment.
That's where the snakes are. It really is people that'll backdoor and go try to steal that deal from you or try to do some shenanigans. But if you're in a trusted Facebook group in that area, that's awesome. So you posted it there, right?
Yep, I posted it in the Facebook group. I got tons of interest the first day. I want to say the next day I had about 8 buyers go out, and I chose the best fit, and we went from there.
Awesome. And closed it up and done.
I had boots on the ground that go and do my photos, do my walkthrough, and they met the buyers there, and we closed the deal.
Awesome. What's your big goal in this business? What's the big vision? So,
like I explained to you before, where I come from, it's not, I don't want to say it's not the best place, but I definitely want to give back to my community. So I want to build a youth group for young girls because I was a teen mom, to help with different resources to show them how to buy homes, and do all the things that I thought when I was that age that it was impossible for me. If I could look back 20 years, even 10 years, and see myself today, I wouldn't believe it. So I just want to reach back and grab, some of the girls from where I come from. Obviously, I want to build a rental portfolio. I can cherry pick my deals now because I know how to go for them, which is amazing. and eventually get into development.
You're gonna help so many people. You're gonna help so many people. I mean, listen, anybody can do this business.
Yeah.
Anybody can do this business if they just stay focused, stay consistent, and get over the fear of speaking to strangers about real estate. But anybody can do this business. Yeah.
I want to say that was really important for me, like working on my mindset. You probably wouldn't believe this, Brent, but the day I closed that deal, the 24K, I was journaling, and I'm like, okay, because in the VO, the virtual office, our minimum income is $30,000 a month.
That's right.
So now that it's a little too, like, the goal isn't big enough for me. So I was changing my goals, and I'm like, okay, $50,000 a month, right? Which is still small, but I'm inching up there, and I'm like, next quarter I'm gonna be on Brent's podcast. And,
that's right.
And Alejandra called me the next day. I'm like, the power of manifestation. It's insane. So yeah, just literally believing in yourself, changing your environment for sure, surrounding yourself around different people, and just pushing yourself. I was an introvert. You probably wouldn't. I'm like crazy introvert. In April, I went to Florida to a conference by myself, which I thought I would have never done in a million years. So I'm growing tremendously, and I love every bit of it. And I definitely say thanks to you, because I don't know what I would be doing today if I didn't stumble across you on Max Maxwell's show.
Well, listen, you're doing all the excellent hard work. You're putting it in. You're building your mindset. You're making the calls. The skills that you've built since August have been absolutely fantastic, and it's just the start. I mean, you're gonna impact so many lives, and I'm excited to be able to watch it. I'm excited to be a part of it. So, absolutely incredible. How can people reach out to you? How can people connect?
So I am underscore Nakia S. Thomas on all social media platforms, and I have to take your advice and be a little louder because I don't post like I should, but I'm definitely gonna repost this.
That's the next phase. That's the next phase. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. I went through a little imposter syndrome, felt like I needed to close more deals before I started telling people about what I'm doing. And like you say before, because I kind of like dibbled and dabbled in a couple of other things, I don't know. But that's definitely the next phase. Good.
Get as loud as possible. Guys, reach out. We'll make sure that we put Nakia's contact information in the show notes, and make sure that you reach out. She's absolutely phenomenal and somebody that you want on your team and in your life. So thank you for being on here. Absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
Just warming up. Warming up. So,
for sure.
That's awesome. Give some advice for anybody that's looking to get their first deal.
Definitely stay consistent. As I stated before, surround yourself around people that are doing much more than you and that are doing the things that you want to do, and find some mentorship.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Thank you. Thank you for jumping on here. What a great podcast. I mean, so many people are going to get so much energy out of this, and I think a lot of confidence. So thank you for being on here, guys. Reach out, and that's it. That's it for our show. Go to wholesalinginc.com if you're interested in joining the most successful and the most proactive real estate investors in the world. Go to wholesalinginc.com. Apply now. Have a conversation with our team, and let's get to work. And that's it. My name is Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, and I encourage you to go out there and talk to people. Love you guys. See you next time.